This is Johnny Nelson, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
And we're on. Johnny Nelson, welcome to Newcastle.
Yeah, you know what, I've been here 3 times. You've got that back down memory lane. I remember coming here with Naz back in the day then. Newcastle, it's good memories. Good memories. I like coming here. Yeah. And when you've got somebody to support, it's good support. You know, they turn out for them. I think tonight's a sellout. The little Dritson fight, but it's good. It's a good turnout. Walking through reception, I saw Glenn McCrory there. He was their former star as well. So when you can fight from them. You get the support around here.
Did you start to get the old feelings when you seen him again?
Me and Glenn are good mates. Always been good mates. I'd have probably done him, but he'll probably say he'd have done me. Yeah. But it's one of those fights that never happened.
Yeah. Well, would you ever consider having like a charity match with him or something like that?
I think we did a while ago, but I think the heart's probably pack in now. So
would it?
Well, but then you look at Nigel Benn, and what he's doing, and you know, Nigel's scratching an itch, and I totally get where he's coming from.
Well, do you still have that itch, do you?
Oh well, listen, we all have that itch. And just only a few of us actually decide to scratch it.
Right.
We all think we can still fight like we used to. We can't. We can think fight. We can't physically do it because our bodies just won't react the way it needs to do. Yeah. So for Nigel's not the average 55-year-old. So he keeps himself in an amazing condition. But it's just, this is his personal reason for doing it. It's not about the money. He doesn't need the money, definitely not.
Yeah.
So this is for him. It's not about the adulation and the fame, because whatever he does in this fight is not going to make him any bigger than what he was in his 20s. So this is for him, and people need to just get their head around it.
What is it that you think that he actually misses? Do you think he misses fighting under the spotlight? Because in a sense, if you had an itch, you could just go to a gym and just do it. Is it doing it under the spotlight, the pressure?
I think what's closure. Remember his last fight was against Steve Collins.
Where he lost,
The Nigel Benn we know, that's not Nigel Benn. And Nigel was probably at a stage in his life where the fight had gone out of him. After rest, recuperation, and seeing things and living life, he probably just got a bit of that something back that he lost once. And so for him, it's just for his own tick to say, right, I've sorted that out. Yeah. So I do get that, and as you're sort of talking about going in the gym and getting it, it's completely different, and fighters will understand it. And Patrick Day died through fighting, and people that don't know boxing think, why would you do something like this? Why would you go in there and directly want to hurt the other person?
Yeah.
So you think like a civilian. When you're in it, when you're part of that, when you get it. Even though it's unjustifiable, in a way it is justifiable in your head to box and to do what you do. Fatalities in our sport are sad. And as time's going on, they're few and far between. They will happen because of the nature of the sport. And we all know what we're doing when we get into it. It's sad for the ones that are left behind, but if you can be a boxer, you've got to be selfish. And once it's in you, it's in you. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing apart from making the safety aspects of it a lot better, which is happening day by day. But there's nothing you can do. You can't ban boxing, because if you ban it, then it makes it even worse, because people will fight without having medical checks, without having medics ringside. So this is the safest way to control it, and it will happen, and it'll happen again, and it's just a sad state of affairs.
You know the way though that when something like this happens, they always look at, say, well, what can we do to change it? There isn't too much more you could do. If you make the gloves smaller, then that's going to be more devastating. If you make them, maybe wear 12-ounce gloves, for example, then you're going to get more punishment.
Maybe one thing that they could do is each fight having some kind of check scan. So say if a fighter's been in a fight and he wins. I saw a fight actually the other day, I can't remember, it was on the Frank Warren show. The fight was getting done, he was getting beaten up to the last 30 seconds of the last round. He turned it around and got and knocked his opponent out.
Yeah.
I can't remember the fight. I think it was May.
Is that the one who was showboating in the end? And he got clipped?
Yes. Yeah. And so that fight's done and dusted. Now, so the fighter won. But would he have gone to hospital afterwards to get a check to make sure, have his brain scan checked and everything? No, he didn't. No, I mean the winner. Would he have gone to hospital and had a brain check and everything? No. because he won and he walked out of the ring, but he got a bit of a pummeling within the fight. So these are the things that could change a little bit, you know. So when you come out of a fight, everybody gets checked.
Right.
To make sure you're alright. It's not just the doctor going and looking in your eye, get a scanner, but this costs money. I suppose you could do it at a level of where fighters had a bit of a tough fight, win or lose, you make sure he gets checked. But it costs money.
Yeah.
And so that's one way you can monitor the condition, the development, the damage that fighters incur while fighting. But everything is, the British Boxing Board of Control is one of the best governing bodies out there to do everything possible to make sure these things don't happen. But they will. And so I suppose it's a way of, you know, it's trying to keep you dry when you're jumping in the sea. You're doing everything possible to keep you dry, but you're going to get wet somewhere.
Exactly.
And so I think boxing, unfortunately, if you don't get it, I understand the critics, I understand people say it should be banished, I get why they say because they don't get it. If you do get it, then you think, you know what, you just stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine.
Yeah. Well, the fight, a lad here last night, he had the weigh-in and that, didn't he? He's meant to take on John Doherty. Yeah. And straight after the weigh-in, he failed a brain scan.
Yeah.
So now he's been replaced with my good friend Lewis Van Poch.
Exactly. So things are being put in place to avoid damage or further damage to fighters. They're being monitored time and time. That's what has to be done. So that's for the fighters inside the ring. Outside the ring, to improve our sport, you could say, for instance, when you watched a fight and the scoring system's been so bad. Now it's history in our fight. It's happened before, it'll happen again until something's done about it. Now, like in football, I personally think like in football, you've got an instant replay. Yeah. And so if a decision's been made, you look at the camera and say, well, actually, this is what actually happened, and the decision could be overturned there. In boxing, if you've got 3 judges ringside and the scoring is completely out of sync, if I gave you the name of one judge that saw it completely the wrong way around, you'd think, oh my God, such and such is such and such. Then after a week, you'd forget who it is. You don't know what the person looks like. I personally think what you should do is make them stand accountable. So when the scoring is completely out or so farcical, you put these people on camera so people can see who he is or she is that is making this, and make them justify why they scored round 7 the way they did, why they scored round 8 the way. And I bet you anything.
Who do they report to? Do they report to the sanctioning body? Or?
Sorry? The sanctioning body protects. So if it's the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, British Boxing Board of Control, they protect their referees and their judges. So therefore, you can't talk to them directly. They have to report to their seniors. But still, there's an injustice done. So it's all done behind closed doors. What needs to be done is, if you judge a fight and you judge it so disgustingly wrong, where it looks like you've been bunged something, put a camera in front of you. Make he or she sit there and say, well, this is why I scored it the way I did. So that person is going to show themselves to either be incompetent or be on the take. Yeah. Because unfortunately in our sport, when you see things like that, it turns you off the sport. I can remember watching, I can't remember what he was fighting, it might have been the Tyson Fury fight against Wilder. And I was in a casino with a load of friends watching it. And it was nice, I was going mad watching the fight, and after the fight, this guy said to me, you know what, I'm never watching boxing again, it stinks. And I couldn't even justify a sport I love, because when I see stuff like that, I'm thinking, really, come on. And that's why we shoot ourselves in the foot, the governing bodies shoot our sport in the foot, if they don't say, right, you are out, or you need to justify why you said what you said. That's how you address that issue.
Unfortunately though, if a sanctioning body, I'm just going to use the WBC as an example, we're not saying that it is them, but if they're happy with the decision, as in, they know it's a robbery, but we want to keep that guy as our champion, for example, they're not going to do anything about it, are they?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So who do they report to?
So exactly, so they don't report to anybody, that's why they've got everybody's individual governing bodies. So what I'm saying is, if it could be a rule across the board, but you've got to get them all to agree to it. You know, and it shows goodwill, it shows honesty, it shows intent. If you say, you know, we'll sign up to this. If the decisions and judgments being made, we will let you publicly, we'll look at it and say, right, you know what, you publicly got to justify yourself. But it's dignity and honesty. You've got to ask these governing bodies to sign up to this.
Unfortunately, with boxing, like most things, it's all subjective, isn't it? Most of it is
but
subjective.
sometimes you get some rulings that are ridiculously so out. And I'm quite sure you've seen. I can't name a fight off my head, but I'm quite sure you've seen a couple of fights. You thought, how have you seen that? Seen it that way.
Well, Tyson Fury, Wilder was one of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And one of those, that is a prime example. Sit down and tell us how you justify that. Was it Lennox Lewis against Holyfield? Was one of them?
First one, yeah.
Sit down, explain to what you actually saw, what round. And so that person, he or she, will either show their incompetence or how stupid they are, or they want to take. Then they're in or out. And that's how you clean that side of our sport up.
And it seems to happen with most Canelo fights as well.
Exactly, and that's why again it's something that there's your way of addressing an issue in our sport. I think it was an issue with football. The instant replay was talked about for many years before the automatic brought it back. Then you see it and you think, right, it's changed the whole game now. If a player jumps on the floor and says he's being fouled, he's liable to get a yellow card if he's trying to fake it to make it, and so it changed the whole attitude. And in boxing, it should be the same.
I'm sure that you have had decisions go against you in the past, especially like earlier on, because you're one of these fighters that you were quite happy to go to your opponent's backyard and get that experience. So of course, when you go into somebody's backyard, you're not always going to get the decision.
Let me give you an example. So I went to Brazil, I boxed in Brazil against a guy called Aldes Rodrigo. I think he had 79 fights, he only lost one. I think that was to Evander Holyfield when I boxed him. I'm sure it was. Well, most of his fights were in Brazil. I boxed him the first time, beat him hands down. They gave him the decision. The scoring was that far out. 3 or 4 months later, they flew me back to Brazil to fight him again. They did exactly the same again. There was no justification. There was no you're wrong, whatever. They just did it again. This happens in our sport. It's happened in the past. Our sport is forever developing, getting better in all aspects. And to me, I think that side of it, it can be addressed that way. What you do is when you're boxing someone's backyard, unfortunately or not, they're going to do everything to put it to the advantage of the opponent. Say for instance here, and this has happened to me in Germany, Italy, when you go away to box, and a lot of young fighters need to pay attention to this. When you go away to box, you only get wisdom through experience. So when you go away to box and you put you in a hotel, you've got to be mindful that whoever you're boxing in someone's backyard is their local star, is their hero. So everybody's going to want to support them somehow. Unfortunately, human nature is some people want to cheat. So if you're in a hotel or whatever, watch the food. Go and eat somewhere else. And I'm only saying this because I know this has happened to me. I know something will happen to other fighters. Go and eat somewhere else, because you don't want to all of a sudden come down with a stomach bug, or all of a sudden get paranoid about what you bet or something that affects your performance. Stay in a hotel. Go and eat somewhere else. Another example here last night, the alarm went off between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
3 times.
Coincidentally.
and the opponent
is here. Yeah.
He's here staying in this hotel. But actually he was one step ahead. He actually didn't stay in the hotel, so he understands. Right. So everybody else was disturbed, but not he. This has happened to me again in Italy, in Germany. But these things happen, so you've got to be prepared for these things when you go away. It's competition. Our gym, Brendan Ingle our gym was very multicultural, and Brendan Ingle always said to us, when you go into someone's backyard, you're going to be abused. They're going to do everything to put you off your game. So if they can get you mad by calling you all the names under the sun, or making all things open in your hotel or whatever, they're going to do that. So your mind's not on the game. So when you get in the ring, you're so upset about what's happened. You lose. They'll abuse you when you get in the ring. They'll give you a crap dressing room and everything. So to mentally train you, to mentally prepare you for that, Brendan, in our gym was very colourful, should I say. So if you were very PC, you could never come in our gym. Because your ears would bleed. And Brendan said, I want to encourage this in the gym, but keep it in the gym, because what happens is when you go out there and people are doing it to you outside the gym, if your reaction is that of most people outside, you're going to make it affect your game. And it's still a little nursery rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones. And he kept saying that's what you said, so just be you. You know, you've got to take it, make some banter of it, and so.
Didn't you do that with Carl Thompson, didn't you?
Yeah. It was the easiest ever. Everybody from our gym was great at doing it, getting into people's head and winding them up, saying stuff that just pushed the button. To us, it was fun because we got used to it that much. But if you're a young fighter coming through and you don't get it, all of a sudden you're going to lose. You're not like, I can't believe what he just said. I can't believe what he's just done. Why have I got that crap dressing room? Why is my dressing room cold?
Right.
So you make sure you've got a plan B for all of these things and you prep for it all. And that's what I said. Last night I was in bed and the alarm went off, and I was like, if I quote my God, couldn't smell smoke. Went back to bed again because I remember what was said, and everybody was outside the front. And I'm not saying ignore it. It was silly of me to do that, but because I thought, and a lot of fighters here, when we discussed it this morning, they all said, oldest trick in the book. But unfortunately, you've got to come out, get out of the place. But it's the oldest trick in the book. A lot of fighters know it happens.
Well, it makes you wonder, I mean, if it's not coincidental, who is it that got hold of the hotel staff to push the button or whatever?
What do you think was the member of staff? Might be somebody in a hotel.
Oh, just smash the fit. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, yeah.
That's the point.
I forgot about that, yeah. So, anyway, so here in Newcastle, the Metro Radio Arena is literally 5 minutes walk from here. And what goes through the mind of you guys on the morning of the fight? You've already had your weigh-in, you're rehydrating, you're doing all these kind of things. What goes through the mind knowing that you're a few hours away from a fight?
Well, from my experience and my observation, once you've weighed in, that's the first main battle done and dusted. Because you've done all the training, all the hard work's been done. Just get to the weigh-in. Once the weigh-in's been done, it's done. So then your new focus is the fight itself. So fight week, I've got to make weight, I've got to get this right. Once you've done that, then it's fight itself. So you've got a new kind of relax, but you've got to stay still tuned, still focused. So some fighters, they can sleep like a baby once that's done. Once they've rehydrated, net and everything. Night before the fight, some fighters can't sleep. Some fighters, because you're thinking about what's this time tomorrow I'll be in the ring. This time tomorrow I'll be round 2, it'll be round 3, it'll be round. You think like that. You get up this morning, and you've got to stay cool because everybody's excited about what's happening. You see everybody having fun, talking, walking, laughing, joking. You still got to stay focused on it. So you've got to replenish yourself, load up for what's happening tonight. So you've got to keep the cool whilst everybody else is enjoying what's happening. I can remember when I boxed in Italy, and I had a lot of people come out, a lot of my friends came out. And I wanted to be with my mates because we're all having a right laugh. I could hear them when I was in my hotel all going out. I'm thinking, God, that's a right laugh. But then I realised I was the entertainment, so I couldn't actually be with my mates. And so you've got to have that discipline to say, you know what, this is my job. I'll enjoy this tonight, or I'll enjoy this side of it at someone else's fight. So today is about, for the fighters, it's about not getting too carried away with what everybody else is doing, not getting involved. And staying focused, stick close to your coach, go for a walk, relax, don't burn up too much energy, eat, and just slowly but surely get your mind into gear and focused, get your game in. I don't think you can just turn it on the second you step in the ring. All day long is a preparation for it. All fighters are different. Some fighters are really quiet, some fighters are really loud, some fighters are really aggressive and snappy, but you find that way.
Do you think it helps being home or away?
I preferred being away.
Yeah.
I love being away from home because
Less
it
pressure.
brought the best out of me.
I'll do it, okay.
If I was away from home and all these things were happening, it makes you like an animal. It's fight or flight. Right. So you're aware, you're on it. And that's why I wanted to be. So when you get in the ring, you're boxing to the best of your ability. When you're at home, around your home comforts, around people you trust, I found it. It didn't help me prep mentally to be on it because I thought I've got everybody around me. Some fighters can't fight away from home. Some fighters need that comfort blanket of being around, having everybody else there. I like the solitude of thinking, it's me and my coach. It's us against you lot. So if I'm going, I'm taking somebody out with me. But some fighters are different. And certain fighters are probably more successful away from home. than they are at home, and this is probably why they don't actually understand why it works like that.
Well, people like Tyson Fury, Billy Joe, these guys seem to be at home no matter where it is that they go, or at least from the outside looking in, it looks like they're comfortable no matter what.
Because you say he's to play the victim. You know, yeah, that's right. It's like playing the victim. So when you go away, it's like you've got a chip on your shoulder. You think, yeah, all right, then I'm on it. Come on. And so you fight great. That's what Tyson does when he boxes away. That's what Billy Joe does when he boxes away. You fight with a chip on your shoulder. You're out there with a chip on your shoulder, thinking there's a problem here, and even if there isn't an issue, you've got that mentality. So I get that. I totally get that, and that to me, I like that. That brings the best out in you.
Yeah. So what do you think of the card tonight?
I think it's a good card. I actually do think it's a really good card, and so many 50-50s on there. Yeah, I think it's a really good card. Top of the row, great card, intriguing.
Sorry, does that also make a bit of a psyche difference as well, knowing that you're going into a tough fight? As in, it's potentially a 50-50 fight, and you know it's a 50-50 fight. Yeah,
of course it does. But you know, from the outside looking in, we'll say it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
But the fighter will be thinking, no, I've got you. You've got to think like that. I'll beat you. It's no 50-50. So you've got to go in there thinking, it's not 50-50. I'm better than you.
Right.
Stats and from the outside looking in, you think it's a 50-50. But you've got to go in there thinking, I'm going to do it. It's like when I suppose Kell Brook fought Triple G. He in his head, he thought he's going to beat him. Outside, he thought, shit. You know what I mean? And and that's that. But you've got to have that self-belief when you get in the ring.
Yeah. So who do you think, in your mind, because obviously you study all like these guys, who's the favourite for the main event? Robbie Davis and Lewis Ritson. Who do you think's the favourite?
You see, today we'll see. I saw Robbie Davis out front. He looks quite big in out today. But he's long. He's awkward. He's more intent. I would side towards him, but Ritson has shown that he has the experience, more experience than Robbie Davis, but he's also shown that at a certain level he's not good enough. Right. Now he stepped up a weight, we don't know how that's going to affect him. We don't know how his loss affected him. But I would lead towards Robbie Davis.
And what about Ted?
Cheeseman and
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. I'm with Fitzgerald. Now, my problem was this. I thought Fitzgerald, when he boxed Fowler, he got himself right up there, emotionally intent on there. He was on it. I don't think we'll ever see him box any better than that, personally.
Right.
I could be wrong, but I thought Fowler brought that out in him. And I don't know if Cheeseman brings this out in Fitzgerald.
The build-up has been totally different though, isn't it?
Yeah, if he does, then we've got something. Well, then we might see the same thing happening. And it's just a case of if Fitzgerald can bring himself to that kind of intent, that want, then he does it again. I'm just curious to see, can he pull it out? Because a Cheeseman likes to have a fight, likes to have a tear up. That I think might be the best fight of the night.
Could well be. Do you know much about Lawrence Oswecki?
I tell you who I'd lean towards, who I'm curious to watch more than anybody. Savannah Marshall. Yeah, Savannah. I think this is the second fight with Matchroom, and she's been a slow burner. And I've seen her grow from a little girl into an adult, to a woman now with self-belief. It's 10 years since she boxed up to these sides. Last time, 10 years ago, I think she was in Hartlepool, something like that. And I think for her, you don't know how far she's going to go. You know, she's gotten better. I just like her development. I like to see how her story's unfolding. So that's the one that's got my attention.
So what is it that you have to prepare yourself for? Because obviously, I mean, do you get nervous before you go on like Sky Sports and you've got to break down fights and you've got to...
You know what? This is the best job in the world because I'm watching a sport that I love. I'm watching a sport that I get. Now you might know stats. You might know. You blow me out with stuff that you can retain mentally, or who boxed who and what round they did it in with which hand. That's your talent. My talent is I've actually been in there, so I understand the feeling, I understand the pressures, I understand once you've got in the rope. So my job is to translate that to people watching. That's easy. That's easy because you can always remember the truth. You can never remember a lie. So when I see fighters, I see how they're acting, I see how they're fighting. I can translate that. That's my job, to translate to people who watch it. Yeah. How I saw it through my eyes. It used to be nervy because you'd worry about what people thought of your opinion. But then after a while I thought, well, no, not really. It's just my opinion. I don't take it personal. When I get things wrong, or if I've given the nod to somebody over another opponent, thought he's better than him, it's never personal. Yeah. It's just my opinion. And that's why, and people need to understand that. I can remember I thought Fowler beat Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald came into the studio afterwards, and he was a bit upset, saying, "I can't believe you thought that." It's just how I saw it. It shows that, but I actually like Fitzgerald. He's a cool guy, he's a nice guy. It's just how I saw it. Yeah. And that's what we get paid for. That's our job. Everything's subjective, but that creates debate. I don't mind being wrong when it comes to calling a fight, but you can never tell me about the emotions of fighters going in and out of the ring, because I've been in every aspect of the game. Won, lost, drawn, been robbed, been a champion, been a challenger, been a chaser, being in a hooligan club. I've experienced every side of our game, so I know nobody can challenge me on that. But in regards to the sport itself, the history of the sport, of course, some people are better at retaining information than others. I have information I might have concentrated on the 60s, the 70s or the 80s. You might have concentrated on the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. That's just our sport.
What about bias? Because do you find that you have to keep yourself professional, or do you allow the bias to slip in at times?
You mean like, say if it's a matchroom fighter against another fighter? Is that kind of bias, or somebody that a friend that's fighting?
I was thinking friend, but yeah, I do like the Sky Sports one. Matchroom one.
No, not at all. It probably doesn't. The promoters probably don't like it, and people think I've been accused of many things: picking the house fighter, picking the black fighter over the white fighter, picking the. I don't care if that's what your opinion is. I've picked what I think. I've picked what I thought. It's hard to fairly comment on a friend, but I think I can do it. Yeah. Say for instance, Kel and Amir Khan. Now Kel's my boy. Kel's from our gym. I like Kel. I know Kel's dad. I've known from Kel for years. At first, I thought Amir Khan had beat Kel. Kel rose, and then I thought I was struggling to figure out who'd win. Then Kel rose again. I thought Kel had beat Khan. Then I thought Khan had beat Kel. And looking at the performances. Now looking at their past performances, I'm stuck. I can't say Kel or beat Khan. I can't say Khan or beat Kel, because the last two performances didn't impress me. I thought I can see Kel's speed, if he can keep it up, would beat Kel. I can see Kel's accuracy and his power would beat Khan. But at this stage in their career, they are not the fighters they were 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. So therefore, it's hard for me to say he will definitely win. So it'd be easy for me to say, yeah, of course Kel will win. That's my boy. But I can't. And so I don't find it hard, because just that's my opinion. Say when Kel boxed Triple G, I know what Kel was capable of doing. I knew it was a tall order. I knew it was possible, but I didn't think he'd win. But I knew it was possible. So you've got to listen to the word. I said it was possible for him to do it. I know I can do it. At that fight, Kel showed some vulnerabilities in Triple G, but he just wasn't big enough. He just wasn't strong enough. When Amir Khan boxed Canelo, I looked at the fight and thought, wow. When he announced it, I thought, Jesus, that's a big one. But again, Amir Khan in my opinion, had the beating of Canelo, because he was fast enough and busy enough. Unfortunately, he wasn't consistent enough to keep it up, to keep Canelo off. So that lapse of concentration, Canelo caught him. Because if you look at the facts at that point, I personally think Amir Khan was winning. He was fast enough to do the job, but it's all about timing. So as long as you're honest and you're truthful to yourself and you can back up whatever decision you make or opinion you make, that's cool. I don't mind if you say, Johnny, you're wrong, you got that wrong. That was just my opinion. Yeah. And that's why our sport is so intriguing and so loved, because we could look at the same thing and see two different things.
I mean, you're one of the very few people that agrees with me, where I say that you put Dillian Whyte in the ring with Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte's got as good a chance as anyone out there of sparking him
without
out.
Without a doubt. Dillian Whyte is the most improved fighter over the last 4 years, without a doubt. Dillian Whyte is a guy that people want to develop amnesia about or just conveniently forget about. The best thing that happened to all the other top 10 heavyweights is Dillian Whyte going through the controversy that's going through at the moment. So it's convenient for them to think, well, we don't have to deal with you, deal with that yourself. That's the best that could have happened to him. Dillian Whyte's raw. He's got unbelievably long arms. He's such a big heart. Loves to fight, and it's a massive injustice that's been for him. I actually think out of the two, and I like them both to death. I actually think out of Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte has probably improved more than Anthony Joshua has since they boxed, and that's just my opinion. But as I said, these fight now, if they fought each other, and I'm not saying this because of the Ruiz fight. I'm saying this because of the development of Dillian Whyte. I'd struggle to say Anthony Joshua wins 100%.
I said the same thing. I said because when these guys were talking about having the fight before, and a lot of people saying, yeah, but we don't need to see that fight. We've already seen that fight. The same thing will happen again. I was like, yeah, that was 3-4 years ago. Look at how much Dillian's come on since then. The Dillian Whyte of today is not the same one of 2015.
Exactly. And neither was Anthony Joshua. So they both improved. I just think Dillian's improved more. But the problem is when they first boxed, Dillian was there, Anthony was there. Anthony improved. And when it come to fight Dillian again in the pros, Dillian didn't realise Anthony had developed so much, and Anthony beat him. So then they carried on. They've gone like that, and so they're going like that. And Dillian's improved. So now he's there. And people are not looking at that, and so that's what they need to understand. They've both improved, but one's improved a little bit more than the other to make it more of a level playing field.
Do you think that the WBC have made it look bad on Dillian? Me personally, and it's just my opinion, I think that Dillian's innocent in all this. And with the WBC, while they haven't removed him from their rankings right now, they have postponed or suspended his mandatory and interim world title, which to maybe intentionally or unintentionally has made him look.
Well, I don't know the ins and outs, so it's hard for me to fairly comment on it, but my understanding is the WBC, as far as they're concerned, he's not banned. In regards to the boxing board and various people knowing about the failed drug test before the fight, tells me that whatever was in his system, which is on the banned list, was no threat and could easily be explained because they let him box on. Unfortunately, you've got to go to the letter of the law and say, this was found in your system, this is on our list. Even though what we found in your system could no way make you better or worse, it's on our list. So going to the letter of the law, you are failed the drug test. I don't know the ins and outs. I'm hearing various things, but
well, we know that he passed 2 days before and passed 2 days after, and right the way through the entire camp.
Yeah.
This is one.
Yeah, exactly. So therefore, I personally think that I don't think he's cheated. I personally don't think that, but that's my personal opinion. I'm not representing anybody else's opinion. That's my personal opinion. I think this thing will get dealt with, and I think Dillian he's now a people's champion. Where people, and when this came out, I think a lot of people thought, oh no, not really, and he felt for him because they're thinking, have you cheated? Have you really cheated? Because if you have, you've let me down. And so people are hoping this gets cleared up. If he's cheated, make him suffer.
Although there's a lot of people out there who want him to fail.
Yeah, of course they do.
Because there's some...
to fail. They need him out of the way. Of course they do. And he knows that. But I love how he's conducted himself since then. He's just gone about his business. And the thing is, if you know you've not cheated, you'd act how he's acting right now. If he cheated, you'd hide away. I suppose Baby Miller didn't hide away, but if he cheated, you'd hide away. But how he's conducted himself, I'm thinking, nah man, you ain't intentionally broke any rules.
It must be hard for him though, because I know he does go on social media and that a lot. And I mean, I've spoken with him countless times. He is somewhat of an emotional person. He's a reaction kind of person. So with all the people who are always Dillian Whyte B-sample this and it's got to be eating at him. It's got to be wanting him to just come out and start.
Unfortunately, when he starts to box again, or when his next fight,
it's in December, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what's going. His opponent gets it. You know, think about it. We were always told your success says it all for you. You don't have to leave them ignorant. You know, make people call you every name in the sun and try and dig it. And you find people that are not doing as much as you are the first people to criticise. So, of course, why are you going to get into that argument? Say, all right, stay ignorant.
And what about Deontay Wilder? While we were just talking about him briefly there, him saying that Alexander Usyk is too small and not a threat.
Well, you mean like Mike Tyson was too small?
Like a Luis Ortiz is exactly the same size as Alexander Usyk.
Yeah. So you're going to say all the things that will just be convenient for the conversation. And I'll tell you, Alexander Usyk, when I saw him coming through the cruiserweight, I said he's the heir apparent in regards to the heavyweights. I was almost certain. I saw his heavyweight debut, and I looked and I thought, I still do think you're going to be a heavyweight champion. I probably thought your impact would be a lot more convincing. He got the job done. Showed excellent skill, tactics, patience, and even though his opponent stepped up last minute, I thought I liked how he handled it. He just stepped up the gears slowly but surely. I still do think he'll be a heavyweight champion. I think he's mandatory challenger for the winner of AJ and Ruiz.
So is Pulev.
Yeah.
Both called exactly the same time. That's what Eddie said to me 2 days ago.
Yeah. So you give him time to develop into a fully fledged heavyweight. Give him time. I remember when Evander Holyfield stepped to the heavyweight. His first heavyweight debut was the same. I remember Michael Moore doing the same from light heavyweight to heavyweight. So obviously not going to be as concussive and as convincing in their given ways.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Before heavyweight, was it? Corey Sanders, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when I stepped into heavyweight. But I knew I could never naturally be a heavyweight.
Right.
You know, I knew naturally I could do cruiserweight. I couldn't naturally do heavyweight. So I could fight certain heavyweights and beat certain heavyweights or compete with certain heavyweights. But I knew when I box, the size of me and find somebody like a long, tall, awkward
Lennox Lewis or something.
Lennox Lewis or something like that. You're giving too much away. You're giving power away. You're giving weight away. You're giving reach away. You're giving everything away. I've not got the Mike Tyson attributes to be a banger. I'm too long for that. I'm a boxer, and so I knew I could play with certain heavyweights, but certain heavyweights think, nah, I'm all right. And so I just think give Usyk time. So with Wilder saying that, you're going to say things. You know, listen, you say things to try and dismiss or ignore a potential threat on the horizon. I get it. I totally get it. I actually rate Wilder what he's done in regards to Ortiz. He boxed Ortiz the first time when nobody wanted to fight him. And I thought, well, good on you, because you took a fight, no one wants to fight, and won. You're doing it again. You don't know how much of a threat Ortiz is now anymore.
He's looked terrible in his last couple of fights,
yeah,
I think.
But him taking it the first time, I thought, you've gone up on my estimations, because you took a fight nobody wanted. So I've got to give him that.
And what about Tyson Fury and the WWE? I love it personally, but...
Good. Mate, listen, in our sport, we love our sport initially because we love our sport. Then as we get older and start to achieve many more things, money comes involved. So apart from loving our sport, we get paid for the sport we love. Very few fighters are able to capitalise financially out of our sport, outside of the sport, because of the sport. Tyson Fury is one of the very few fighters that's put himself in a position where he can make mad money because of his success in our sport, having that crossover appeal in another sport. So good on him. Good on him. He's getting paid mad money to play wrestling.
Do you think that he can take being picked up and flung around like a rag doll and body slammed? And
I'm quite sure they choreograph something his body could take and not take in wrestling. But if he's managed to make that transition, that crossover appeal, and create a few waves, I am glad for him. I'm glad for him, and I applaud him. And again, you look at his journey, what he's done, what a life, what a book, what a film his life will be, and it's never ending. I actually think Tyson Fury will be one of those fighters that will surpass boxing. I think boxing is a stepping stone for him.
He's always been an entertainer. He's always had that WWE character.
Yeah, but I mean, even that, WWE might just be another step in his life. What I'm saying is, you get certain characters that use something that we class as massive as a stepping stone in life. Ali did it. Ali was bigger than the sport itself. And I think Tyson Fury can be one of those people, or is going to be one of those people, where this period of his life is a stepping stone to whatever's to come in the future for him.
And let's close off with, are you still 100% sure that Josh was going to defeat Ruiz?
I was never 100% sure. I was 1,000% sure.
My bad.
You know what? I'm looking, I'm wavering, but I'm sticking to my guns. And the reason being is because, and the reason why I was 1,000% sure in the first place is because people are forgetting Anthony Joshua has boxed in total, amateur professional, just under 11 years. Just under 11 years. As a world champion, the things that he's achieved.
67 fights in total.
Yeah. As a world champion, the thing that he's achieved in that space of time, you think, wow, you've got to give it. Right, so that's number one. But he's still learning. You've got to go through experiences, good and bad, to get wisdom. He's still learning. He made a vital mistake when he got in with Ruiz, and it's the first professional mistake he's made, which cost him his old. Just because he's got that doesn't mean he's done. Ali had his old taken away. Many fighters have done this. It doesn't mean it's all for them. How he lost was very novice. But again, this is through lack of experience. He's had to learn from that. He'll never make that mistake again.
He left it up to the referee to call it off, didn't he?
He's never made that mistake. He'll never make that mistake again. But he had to make the mistake to make sure he'll never do it again. He's understood. He's understood thinking, you know what? I spend 50% of the time doing fitness work, 50% of the time doing boxing work. Boxing is my job. So let me spend 70%, 80% of my time boxing, and 20% of my time getting my body in shape. So now he's thinking like a fighter. He's taken on his life. He's learned to box, learned to move, learned to slip. Might be too little, too late in this fight, but we'll see the benefits of that in a couple of years' time, because he clearly catches on quick. He clearly learns quick. He clearly develops quick, and we see the results. So I believe that now he knows the enemy. He knows what's out there, because you also remember when he's been world champion just under 3 years. So the day he became champion, every heavyweight out there knew who he was, knew how he boxed, knew what he did. So the ones that were in contention looked at him and thought, that's how I beat Anthony Joshua, that's how I beat Anthony Joshua. So they're plotting and planning their attack. The responsibility to being your champion is this: once you're champion, you've got to be smart enough, good enough, and better than the opponent. They say, right, yeah, now you're fighting him. And then all of a sudden you've got to devise a game plan to be that guy that's had 3 years to beat you mentally. So you've got the mental side and physical side. Now everybody's saying, yeah, Ruiz had 5 weeks notice. He's come off a fight. You give me mental strength and stamina over physical strength and stamina every day of the week, Because if I'm physically there but I'm mentally there, you'll beat me. If I'm mentally there and a little bit physically there, you won't beat me. And so Ruiz knew what he had to do. AJ met Ruiz fight week. Now I don't know if AJ studies tapes or not, but he will now.
Well, apparently, he said that he was up to about 3 or 4 in the morning watching Andy Ruiz Jr. tapes on the morning of the fight or the day before the fight.
There you go. The day before, the first time we met him was fight week. It's like I spoke to Amir Khan, and when I spoke to Amir Khan, he said in between training camps, what he'd do is he'd just disappear. He'd just turn up for training camps. I'm like, what? So you turn up 12 weeks before a fight, and you took 12 weeks before a fight, train for the fight, and then fight, and that's it. He said, yeah. Boxing's like computers, you've got to live in the gym. So every day you're learning, every day you're developing, every day you're learning something new. So when it comes to fight time, then you step it up for fight time. So he had to learn a harsh lesson. I believe Anthony Joshua's done the same. Anthony Joshua may have just depended on the word of Rob McCracken to say, right, we're doing this, and this. This is how this guy boxes, and think, right, yes, coach. But now, when he's fighting somebody, he'll watch him and think, right, do this, do that, do this, do that. So it's a great jab, so it's a great hook, good footwork, and look at all those things. And he'll prep for himself it mentally. You need to mentally visualize these things to prepare for them. And that's the one thing he's had to learn out of all this. If Anthony Joshua was to lose in his career, that was the best time. Because we want him to go in with the same attitude he went in the ring with Fury or Wilder. Because that defeat would be more devastating. But he made a mistake, and now he's got a chance to fix it.
Does he know what went wrong though?
Pardon?
Does he know what went wrong?
Because that's why he's straight in the ring straight away to fight him again. The so-called experts are saying you look at history and not many people manage to win the rematch straight away. You mean like Sugar Ray Robinson and Randolph Turpin?
Right.
64-day hero. Now I'm not saying Anthony Joshua is Sugar Ray Robinson. What I'm saying is, don't talk rubbish. You know, if you catch me once, I made a mistake. If I can fix that mistake, you won't catch me again. Anthony Joshua is obviously mentally strong enough to say, you won't do that again. Maybe a lot of us haven't got the bottle to go in and fight someone that's just beat us up. But he knows what happened in the background. He knows what he did and what he didn't do, why that happened. So he believes if he fixes them, he wins.
Does the location help you, the fighter, more than the other? That's
always baffled me. So it's clearly about money. For one of the biggest fights, possibly one of the biggest fights in the world this year. So that's clear about money. So, and I've spoken to a lot of people that have been out there doing records for the show, and they said, you know, that as long as you're respectful of the laws and the culture, then things are cool. So if it works, I can remember when Ali fought George Foreman. And the political argument of the location and where it was and what was going on politically, where that took centre stage until the fight. Now all we talk about is the fight. We forget about the political situation at the time, and maybe this fight will be the same.
I think that there is some kind of political influence in there. If you notice that when they're all having the photos, all of them were told to do this, which is there is one God, Allah, Muhammad is a prophet, that kind of thing. I mean, for me, I don't think that Saudi should be asking Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Ruiz to be doing that.
If you want to fight there, you got to do as you're told.
But there again,
come to my house,
he's getting millions, no problem.
You come to my house, I want you to take your shoes off. You got to take your shoes off or don't come in.
That's true.
So if you're going to box in Saudi Arabia, if they ask me to do that, and you have a problem with it, well, you don't box there. So they understand what they're to or not to do. But you can't say, yeah, come in my house, but I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
So Saudi Arabia have opened the doors, going to pay mad money, and if we pay you this money, this is what we expect back. If you can't do that, don't accept our money, don't fight here.
It's a fair point.
That's how it is.
All right, and Johnny, I appreciate your time. That was a hell of a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. That's fantastic stuff. So, and I'll see you tonight anyway.
See you later.
Thank you very much.